Brad Peterson asks, where did some of the pieces of Dubstar's unique musical style come from? I recall there was a famous guitarist who passed away recently that influenced Dubstar's guitars. You think you also mentioned a knack for chromatic melodies. Thanks, Brad. So when it comes to influences on the guitars, I think that's a question that's best answered by Chris, of course, being the guitarist. But I know that he was influenced by Johnny Marr, James Honeyman Scott, who was guitarist in the Pretenders, and a guitarist who was an influence on both of this, although I didn't play any guitar on any Dubstar tune, was Robin Guthrie from the Cocteau Twins. His influence, particularly on me, was this creation of a kind of wall of guitar sound that often came through manipulating the guitars using effects pedals. Technique which we see all the time today in styles such as shoegaze and dream pop, but he was one of the first guitarists to approach his playing in that way and remains a favourite of mine to this very day. So the latter part of the question about chromatic melodies. Yeah, it's a funny thing. You'll hear it a lot on the Disgraceful album. In fact, actually the song Disgraceful itself is a really good example of a chromatic melody, at least in the chorus. So where does this chromaticism come from? I know that I've always had a fascination with what we call modal borrowing. Now, this is a music theory idea and term, and it's where if you're at a key, such as C major, and you play the chord of E as opposed to E minor, so you've changed what the listener is expecting from a minor to a major chord, you create these really interesting sounding chord sequences. And then if you write a melody over the top of those chord sequences, you can end up in some really chromatic places, I suppose. I can't think of a better way of putting it like that. And so the melody in the chorus of Disgraceful was a really good example of this. So when I wrote that song, the chord sequence is C major 7th, G minor 7th, F minor 7th, and then back to C. So there's a whole load of modal borrowing going on there. If we were to stick to the key of C, then we would have C major, followed by G major, followed by F major. But what we've got is C, followed by G minor, and then F minor. And that gives you an opportunity to write a melody that goes in a whole load of different kind of exotic directions because of the harmonic basis for the melody that's been established through the arrangement and through the original writing of the piece. I think this taste for unusual chord sequences came from my experiences as a very young child. My first keyboard was given to me by my grandparents, from my father's parents, and it was an organ. On the right hand, it had the regular, the black and white keys, and then on the left hand, it had chords, and on the top, it had major chords, and underneath a whole load of minor chords. And I just got into the habit of just playing sequences of major chords or just minor chords, and really enjoying the kind of strange way the chords fitted or didn't fit together. So I think that's where this chromaticism originates, at least with me. It's from being really used to playing chords that you wouldn't expect to find in any key, in fact, or at least you wouldn't expect to find those combination of chords in any specific key. I hope that answers your question, Brad.